somewhere around there, but I might
Yeah.
just be thinking of that because of my story takes place in London. So
Okay, nice little segue.
Mhm.
Do you want to go first?
that is a nice little segue. But I think, considering you've been away, I think it's only fair that you go first this time, my man.
Me,
And
sir.
the viewers had to see me go first last week too.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. This one is, you know, how we love to speak about murder and disappearances. This one is, I'll just read out the title to you. It's what I found on Reddit this week, actually. So, in August 1965, a 49-year-old Edward Banish was found stabbed to death in his South Bend, Indiana home. 8 days later, Edward's son, Scott, who'd been presumed dead for nearly 3 months, became the main suspect in his father's death. So we'll go into where Scott, the son, had been missing, reported missing. So it was on June the 3rd, 1965. He was 18 years old. He was reported missing by his parents around 9 a.m. Scott Banish told his parents, Edward and Loretta Banish, that he was heading to Lake Michigan to go swimming with a group of friends at Warren Dunes State Park. When Scott didn't arrive back that evening, his parents were quite concerned, obviously, went in search for him. Upon arriving at that Lake Michigan, Scott's parents found his car parked in the parking lot, his wallet and clothing inside. When they walked down to the beach, they found their son, Scott's towel and blanket, but no sign of Scott.
How old was he, sorry, at this point?
He was 18 at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is in 1965. So, yeah, no sign of him. Went down to the beach. Not there. Where the hell is he? God knows. So,
and this is after the thing with the dad?
No. So, this
Oh.
is where it first starts.
Okay, got you. Okay.
So, police questioned a group of Scott's friends that were supposed to go to lake with him that day.
Yeah.
And learned that they decided not to go because the lake was going to be too cold. So it looks like Scott went on his own.
Bit weird, but okay. I masturbate too, so
yeah.
I've always been a master dater. I go to the cinema on my own.
Just on your one. I've been to cinema and gigs on my own, so yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I prefer it, and I love people, but it's like, shut up! I'm trying to watch a film. You know.
I think that's the one thing with cinema and like gigs is like I get it, like it's great game with friends, but sometimes you're not really speaking to that person, are you? You're trying to watch film, watch the band. So I kind of see it from that side. If you want to go to the cinema, or
it's how you take it. Like, I think you're like me. You take like it more like, I don't want to say because somebody snoopy like art. You're there to like take in the whole thing
and not be distracted.
Yeah, not as an excuse to jump in a big pile of people. You know, that are hitting each other and missing the music.
Oh God, mosh pits. Not good.
Yeah.
But we're back to the story. I've got some dreadful mosh pit stories I can tell you another time.
I mean, you can tell me them now. I can cut this out and use it as a clip.
That's fine. When you're facing up to like a 7-foot dude and just like keep standing on his toes because he's like punched you in the chest so much, and then he falls to the floor, and you're like 5'6", and you're just like, I win. I bloody win.
So mosh pit's supposed to be nice. The few times I've been in mosh pits, so when you fall down, they pick you up and stuff. That's nice. Like Upwar's a really nice mosh pit.
I've never been to a gig like that. Normally, it's people stepping on your toes and your face.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, every time I've done it, it's been like a community kind of feel where they pick you up. Like, that's the thing. You fall down and you get picked up straight away, so you can't hurt yourself.
You must have been going to those posh mosh pits, as I call them.
Well, it was Uproar, to be fair. And to be fair, most places I've seen them like that, and then I get annoyed when other people aren't like that. So maybe it's me that's not doing the normal. Yeah, okay. I expect too much of people, Aaron. That's
all. You do.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The police didn't expect too much in this case.
Oh, shit.
They did a search and determined that Scott had actually drowned and was declared dead. That was it. Case closed. See you later.
Oh. Boom. Great segue, by the way, just so you know.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm just trying. I'm taking your lead with this.
We're both getting there, man. We're edging over. Go ahead then. So they just didn't do anything. They just assumed he's dead.
Yeah. So they did a full search of the lake, and that was it. Didn't do any further investigation. So I mean, that's pretty shoddy police work right there. So see you, Scott.
Another thing that links our stories again. Go on.
Yeah. So over 2 months later, On August 22nd, this is still in 1965, Edward and Loretta were hosting a family card night. That sounds like a swinger night.
Could be.
A tradition in the Banish home. Could be anything. Edward, Loretta, their 13-year-old daughter. Maybe it's not a swingers party. And a few,
God, I hope not now.
and a few other friends and family members were playing cards in the basement game room of their home when Edward decided he was tired and wanted to go lay down upstairs. So Edward's the dad.
Yeah.
A short time after, Edward went upstairs, and loud thuds caught the attention of his wife Loretta, and she went upstairs to investigate. So Loretta found Edward standing in the living room near the open front door of their home, and he was covered in blood. Before he could speak, Edward fell to the ground, succumbing to 7 deep stab wounds that had been inflicted upon him. And Edward's wallet and a lit flashlight were found next to his body. So I don't know why there was a flashlight next to him.
Was it dark?
Maybe it's dark, or it was the first thing he picked up to try and hit his attacker with. I'm not sure, but
or the attackers had. Or it was the attackers.
Could have been the attacker's flashlight, but it says Edward Wood and a lit flashlight, so it doesn't state if it was there. So there you go. It was determined that Edward, who'd been he was actually a military man in his years, was attacked by an unknown intruder who had gained access to the house via a small window on the first floor of their home. Police originally theorised that he may have surprised a would-be burglar, and he sadly died. Good old Edward. But on the 31st of August, Loretta Banish received a call from the sheriff.
What was her last name?
Banish or Banish, Banish.
I thought you said Vanish then for a second, and that would have been great. Their last name was Vanish, considering what's going on at the moment.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love it. But no, it's Banish, unfortunately. She received a call from the sheriff telling her that she needed to come to the police station right away. When she was shocked to learn that her son, Scott, was very much alive and had been arrested in nearby Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
So, interesting. Where's he gone?
Shows Scott, how little work they must have done then to look into it. You know,
the thing is, all they did was check the lake. They didn't check any surrounding areas or any other places he may have gone. Just the lake, and that was it. See you later.
And the communication between different states or whatever was terrible back then. Even different counties, whatever it is, you know, different counties within states. So even different counties were terrible back then.
Yeah, definitely. And
that's one thing you learn.
60s as well, isn't it?
That's what I mean. Yeah, back then. Yeah.
But Scott actually admitted to staging his drowning and had been arrested after he submitted a false ID to an army recruitment officer.
So he was faking his death.
Yeah.
To join the army.
But it turns out he just used a different name to join the army. Just run away and join the army.
Did he have some messed up stuff on his record or something? Then why he had to change his name?
We'll come to it.
Okay. We'll
come to why. There's a reason. If I remember rightly, there's a reason why he couldn't join the army under his name.
Okay.
So when he tried to join the army with his false ID, the army recruiter, recognised Scott from the newspaper after the put out to say, you know, disappeared boy, he's dead.
Have any information on this person?
Yeah. They detained him and immediately called South Bend's police department to inform them of their findings of Scott. Scott told police that his reason behind faking his death had been quite simple, really. He dreamed of following in his father's footsteps and joining the army himself. However, when he attempted to enlist, a medical issue kept him from being approved. I don't think it states what medical issue, but you were technically right. He's got something fucked up on his application. So
that's a weird one, a medical issue. Because then again, I suppose, especially back then, if it's already on his doctor's record, it would show up. But if he could just keep quiet about it. Wrestlers do it all the time, don't they? Back in the day.
I mean, I think, for instance, I've got asthma, so I'm not sure now, but maybe years ago, if they were like, if you've got something wrong with your lungs, you are not allowed to join the army. So it might have been the same thing.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to join the army because I've got tattoos on my hand.
Is that right?
Yeah, generally I tried at one point.
I didn't know that.
TAs.
I did not.
I use it in my set. It's like I say that it's can't remember exactly what it was. Obviously, I haven't used my set for so long. Something about it's okay to go and have your arm blown off fighting for your country, but if that arm happens to be covered in tattoos, then no, you're not good enough for us. Something like that.
I like that.
It's true though.
It is very true. I do like that.
I used to want to be a fireman as well, when I thought I couldn't do it because of how shit my eyesight is wearing contacts, but you can. Strange, you know. They changed it, yeah.
They probably changed hand tattoos as well. I'm sure there's got to be enlisters with hand tattoos now, right?
Well, it's one of those things you always see people after they leave the army. They get those tattoos, don't they?
Yeah, after the army, I suppose. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's one of them. And I've got a tattoo on my ear here because it goes against the name of the image of the arm, which is ridiculous, I think.
Well, it's different now anyway, right? It's not as bad as
this wasn't that long ago.
Was it not?
No, this was like, I don't know, like 3 years ago, something like that, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It will change though, because tattoos and all that kind of culture is looked at more now. If like as it's like, you know, like when someone said you can't do something because of this or this, it's like another form of that, you know.
Yeah. Would you?
You know what I mean?
You could have used makeup on your tattoos and covered them up like the whole time.
Fuck that, the blood will cover it up.
But just like Scott, you couldn't cover it up, could you? You could not cover anything like that.
I just could not cover it. He did a better job than me. He put a lot more effort in.
Almost, because I mean, he faked his death, but when he tried to do it, we're like, no. Go home.
If you can, you could have done all that without faking your death. You didn't have to fake your death to do that.
No, just change your name and go to a different army. Like,
or just tell your family you're going to live somewhere for a bit or going on holiday for a year or something. So they're not searching for you, thinking you're dead.
It's true. It
would be working so much better.
There's no like real reason that you should fake your own death just to join the army if you've got a medical issue.
No,
it makes no sense.
Do what you have to do if that's what you want to do. Do what you have to do, you know. But you don't need to do something that's going to bring the attention of the police and make it a lot harder for you.
But it will just it just killed his dreams, I guess. And I mean, his dad's
he can still do it.
He can
still do it. Just don't just leave out the faking death part and getting the police involved. Just go on holiday. Sorry.
That's all right. But with
stupid people annoy me.
Killed his dream, and also as I say, his father had been killed, and he actually had no idea that his father had been killed. So imagine coming back after that bit and being like, your father's dead and you faked your own.
What a week.
I know, it's dreadful. What a week I've had, honey.
I don't believe this, Mr. Manler.
So
I don't believe Mr. Scott.
He told investigators for the last 2 months he'd actually been employed on a tuna fishing vessel out of Oregon. He said he used a fake name, Daniel McFarland, but he had paycheck stubs in the name to prove it. Scott provided the stubs, but police were suspicious of his story.
Okay.
Scott gave the police the name of the fishing vessel as well as the name that he was using, as well as the name of the captain, the captain's wife, and the boat's crew. So
okay, but the captain's wife there as well. That's weird for a boatsman.
I know. Yeah.
Bad luck.
Maybe they were having a good week and he just wanted to join. Maybe it was one of those bring your wife to work days.
Maybe he was just a smart human being and didn't believe in what's that word?
Sexism.
Well, that too. But yeah, you know, like when like sports people are like they're very they think about certain things they do because they think it's going to give them bad luck. It begins with an S.
Superstitious.
Superstitious. That's my man. There you go.
There you go.
There you are. That's why you're the quiff.
That's it.
I don't know where I was going with
that. So the police actually contacted the captain of that boat, and he confirmed that the boy meeting the description of Scott and using the false name of Daniel McFarland had been in fact an employee for him for the last 2 months. So
he was there, yeah.
Yeah, it matches up. He told investigators Scott worked as a deckhand, and on the night of Edward's murder, so his father's murder,
Deckhand. Yeah. It's like a penis.
So, on the night of his dad's murder, he'd been nearly 100 miles off the coast. So there's no way he could have. He's got an alibi, basically.
Okay.
So they're trying to look
Okay.
at it as like Scott being the murderer. So, and I don't see how, because he was on a tuna boat, basically. So Scott was initially released after the phone call with the captain, but the local sheriff, William Locks, wasn't completely convinced of his innocence, and the following day brought Scott back into the station for questioning. He actually interrogated him for 12 hours and convincing him that he had enough evidence to pin his dad's murder on Scott, including finding human blood on Scott's pants, trousers. That was the same general type as his father. And that's
God, yeah. This is back when they only had the blood type, which is stupid. It's such a huge margin. It's pointless to even, bring it up in court.
It's not as good as it is now, but
he's probably got the same blood as his dad.
That's very true. It could have been his blood. He could have cut his thumb,
exactly.
his leg.
You're on a boat.
Exactly. So this is where it's just like, why?
See, I feel like I know where this is going now, though.
Yeah. Well, he'd apparently said that Scott failed a lie detector test and been issued miserably, and Scott then confessed to killing his dad. So they brought out a false confession. False confession. He was arrested.
All the terrible stuff, like the lie detector stuff. I hate the fact that
rubbish.
They still use that in America, like when they're talking about someone not agreeing to help out the police, they say they didn't agree to a lie detector test as if it's a bad thing. Like, no. Yeah. But if you're an anxious person, for example, it'd be ridiculous because it would pop up just because you're nervous.
I'd be so nervous on a lie detector. I wouldn't be able to pass it at all.
I'd be, as soon as you're aware as well, that if you're thinking about this and you're getting nervous for a second, that will make it happen. As soon as you're aware of that, you'll do it just for that reason.
Yeah. Well,
obviously, man. Sorry.
No, it's fine. You can see where it's going because after he was arrested, he recanted his story, claiming he'd been pressured and threatened by Sheriff Locks into believing he would spend the rest of his life in jail. There you go.
Way too many. There's a whole series. I think there's 2 seasons of it now on Netflix called Confession Tapes, something like that.
I love that show. It's really good.
Yeah, it makes you so angry, doesn't it? Though when you're watching it, so frustrating.
A couple of them were a bit dubious, but a lot of them, I was like, "This is wrong. This is so wrong." But it just goes to show the justice system in the United States is completely different to ours. But I mean,
as ain't much better.
It's not much better, but
especially back then, anyway. This is the 60s. You said in it as well, and this still happens.
It does still happen. This is 65. But
the thing is, as soon as the jury hears confession, whatever happens after that, it's so hard to change their mind.
Definitely. Well, this is the other thing as well. When he said you'd spend the rest of your life in jail, the word he used was innocent or not.
Oh, fucking hell!
So cheers, Sheriff. According to Scott, the sheriff had offered him a deal: confess and get probation for involuntary manslaughter, go to trial, be convicted of murder, and serve a lifetime sentence. And then Scott, out of fear, just confessed.
Yeah.
So
of course, yeah.
There you go.
I'm guessing all of that, what you said, building up to it, and what he said beforehand, wasn't included in the court or any of the evidence. It was just a recording of him saying, "I did it."
Yeah, that's
basically. Yeah.
Always the way, even in the 60s.
Yeah.
So the boat captain that Scott worked for claimed, as well as several other crew, they all claimed this. They testified that on the night that Edward was murdered, Scott had been aboard the ship, and that he'd been there every night for 2 months. The captain's wife also testified that she'd seen Scott board her husband's boat, and that they hadn't returned to Oregon until the evening of the 24th. Yeah, so it was the 22nd that Edward died, and they didn't return back. They didn't turn back to land until 24th. So he's out on that boat.
So, yeah, I mean, whether or not it should be the case anyway, whether or not he says he did it. Obviously, he did, unless it's a fucking ghost or
it's
some kind of superhero.
He's got like a portal device that shoots his gun.
I know that reference.
Dad, back on the boat.
I was thinking more like Jumper, but that works.
Jumper works as well, yeah.
Or Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler, yeah, some good references there. I think there was more there's more witnesses that stepped forward, claiming that they had also seen Scott on both of the nights of Edward's murder and then the morning after. So people had seen him.
Yeah, he wasn't there, but he was on a fucking boat.
Yeah, I'm on a boat, mother. Yeah.
Don't be bringing no dead he bitch into my float crib. That's not cool.
Good stuff.
That's amazing.
They said that he had responded to assist in helping to repair a maintenance issue on the fishing boat that night. They provide a log of the maintenance that indeed matched the date of Edward's death. So he worked just doing maintenance on the boat and had a log of it, like who was performing that maintenance. So
loads of evidence,
and then after an 8-day long hearing, including hearing the witness testimonies, Scott was released, which is great news.
Oh, he got released?
Yep.
Sorry, I was just whacking my charger in.
You're right. I thought you were fighting spiders or something then.
It feels like it. It's really a mess, to be fair.
It looks. I like the layout. It's always.
That is the only bit, believe me, that's tidy, and you can't even see the box at the bottom.
No, I can't.
I'm covering this.
I can just see Batman and a base. And is that you in that photo?
Yeah, that's me as you remember me.
Mini Bates.
Yeah.
That's so weird. What year was that? 7?
Yeah, that was year 7 back when I had that next.
Where are we? So yeah, after 8 days, 8 days of a hearing, including hearing the witness testimony, Scott was released, as we mentioned. The case was taken to a grand jury. However, they could not find any evidence supporting that Scott had killed his father, so they chose not to proceed any further. Scott tried to sue the sheriff, as well as 6 of his deputies for $2 million, but he was unsuccessful, unfortunately, claiming false arrest, false imprisonment, and malicious prosecution.
I mean, I'm surprised you couldn't argue that, just considering how much evidence he had on the contrary.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Like the amount of evidence and people coming forward. He had I don't know, at least 4 alibis of people saying he was on the boat doing maintenance.
Do the original arrest and all that, just because it's a bit suspicious. Yeah, he killed himself too, so fair enough. Check him out properly, but obviously it wasn't him.
Well, this is it. Like the one thing I don't get. Okay, his dad's dead, and what cause and motive would this be for Scott to bugger off and then come back and kill his dad? There's no motive, unless it was like for financial gain or something like that. But
which doesn't make sense either. Or because there was stuff before we know that you don't know what he could have been like. He could have been an abusive dad.
Could have been an abusive dad. And
he
come back for revenge. So we don't know.
He could have thought in his head, "Oh, I can't. You know what? I'm not going to be able to do the thing I want to do to follow in my dad's footsteps. But that won't be an issue if my dad's not here."
Master plan.
Yeah,
it's very true. I didn't think about that. But yeah, I think, as I say, he tried to sue them. A circuit court of appeals panel found probable cause for the arrest. So this is why he didn't win, because of because of the blood that they found on Scott's jeans, which we were like, well, that could have been Scott's blood.
Fucking ridiculous, ain't it?
So, awarded no money, nothing from this. His poor dad's dead. He got blamed for it initially, and where does he go from there?
And all this time they put into him is just ignored the actual killer.
Yep. And this is the thing. They didn't put any further investigation into Scott Banish or Banish, however you pronounce it, his death. Edward Banish's death.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
As far as they were concerned, they had the right guy. He just didn't get put down for it. Like, well, he didn't have the right guy. But okay.
But this goes back to those, false confessions. They get these people to confess. That person goes away. There's a killer out there for 25 years plus. Probably hasn't committed any murders in that time, or may have done.
Wow.
We don't know.
Yeah, very easily could have done.
But he's still getting away with it. And this is the same situation here.
Have you ever heard of it's another documentary on Netflix, which I might do. I don't know. It's called The Confession Killer, and it kind of turns this on its head. And it's a guy who did kill some people, but confessing to like every crime.
I think I remember.
Crazily well because of it.
Yeah, I do remember that one. It's not I vaguely remember it.
Yeah.
I've watched so many of those ones on Netflix now. It's crazy,
Yeah.
like the amount of ones they pump out. But yeah, with Scott and his family, I suppose they had enough, and they eventually moved to Illinois. So packed up and left, moved to Illinois. Nothing was really heard from. The case remained unsolved, and Scott actually died eventually because in 2015, and his obituary in the DeKalb, Illinois newspaper stated that he worked at Northern Illinois University as an electrical foreman for over 20 years and was a DeKalb Public Library Board member. So it seems like he had a decent job.
Yeah, he seemed
went out to live a decent life, but
so he went back to his normal life, did he? In the end, then
eventually, yeah, I suppose after not, receiving,
you go to jail, being arrested as him as well. He's already kind of out the bag by then,
Yeah, not receiving any settlement for your false imprisonment while awaiting your trial. Your dad's dead. No one's gone into looking into this further. Seems like he moved. It's a great idea. He moved from that town to live with his family in a different town, and just live out of his days as an electrician, basically. So
yeah, I understand the concept of making mistakes in a police investigation. Of course, you'd be crazy not to understand that.
Yeah,
and doing the wrong guy, ignoring the confession stuff, because the guy might have genuinely thought he was doing the right thing. You never know. But either way, in the end, it was obvious it wasn't him. And don't just give up then.
Well, no, that's the point.
Keep looking. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. It's not Scott. Edward's dead. We're going to find Edward's killer now, and they never did.
Yeah, we cared before, but now because it's the first one we fingered, it wasn't him.
I mean, that we know of. I mean, this is, as I say, this is some information that I found off Reddit. I tried to do a little bit of back checking. There's a very limited information about it as it is. So, but as I say, I first found it on Reddit. Went to the story. There's a few newspaper clippings, one of which I showed you the picture of.
You did.
That was showing in one of the pictures of that was Scott, I believe. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
It's on screen now. That one is.
Is it that one?
Yeah.
Right
there.
That one.
Pointing the wrong way. There you
go. But yeah, missing persons and false imprisonment. That's what we love on this podcast.
It's an infuriating one, that is, but good. Don't get me wrong, it's a good story. Those kind of ones they are really infuriating.
Yeah, absolutely.
False confession. They're still trying to go after the person just because you see it all the time. They're just going after the one person. They've got it in their head. It's them. If it's not them, sorry. If it doesn't work out and they don't get done in court, it's just like, well, it was him still, but I just didn't get arrested for it, because the jury were wrong. But we did our job, Oink. I actually like the police, which is the worst part as well.
There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. It's like people.
Of course.